All right, we're here with the Champions Roundtable. We've got Heroic on one side, Spirit on the other, Siren, Patsy, Cadian, and Shush. I've got Maniac on my side, and we're going to ask some, let's call them prickly questions. And I was going to start soft. I was going to start a little bit light.
Just take it easy. It's a morning. Huh?
Okay, all right.
Morning.
We'll give you guys a soft entry here. Gentlemen, I'm going to open this to the floor, and I think I know what the answer is going to be. But what's the biggest surprise up until this point of the major?
I think potentially the roller coaster that Cloud9 was a part of, you know.
Okay.
They looked so shaky in the beginning. And then I think they've, in my eyes, done one of the best Swiss runs that we have ever seen. They took down FaZe, NaVi, and us. I think that's not any easy draw. And yeah, they looked so shaky in the first day, or in the first stage. Should have probably even lost to Imperial, to be honest, in the 2-2 game.
For me, biggest surprise is that we don't have first three teams in playoffs. That's it, you know.
Yeah.
Like Liquid, Vitality, and FaZe.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but they're not here.
That was going to be my next question. What do you think happened? Because we at the Discord, the cast, we try to explain why the hell isn't FaZe here, the Vitality and the Liquids of the world. What do you think?
For Vitality, I think they didn't have like structured team. They have very skilled players, but they didn't have full team game, you know. And they're like play from with Zaiwu, with Spinks, like on their skills. That's it. About FaZe, maybe they didn't add more good things like they have on Antwerpen, or I don't know. They didn't improve maybe something.
All right.
About Liquid, they have only one.
That's because of you.
You had to beat them,
That's
right?
because of you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And hey. Also,
That's what you participated to take it
But you
down.
didn't send them home,
Oh,
right?
no,
So they
true.
have the feeling. Look, you made a leash cry, mate. You guys are mean.
I don't know what happened.
It was a good game, right?
Yeah.
Now, look, let's go over the runs to this point. There's Outsiders, Fnatic, that lost to Cloud9, and Liquid to get you boys through. And then for your run, Bad News Eagles, then you lost to Furia in a game you probably should have won on Mirage. Lost to Outsiders, a win against Sprout, and a win against Liquid. I'll ask you boys first. Who had the easier run to get to the playoffs? Heroic or Spirit?
Wait, who do you play against?
we played Outsiders,
Yep.
Fnatic, lost to Cloud9, won against Liquid.
I think it was easier for us.
Easier for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's like close to each other, like same
60-40?
teams. Yeah, maybe like
But
this.
Like we won against BNE and everyone predicted them on 0-3 and Sprout as well.
No, I mean like Furia and
Outsiders?
Outsiders. It's like the same teams, like
Similar.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys agree?
Yeah,
I think it's pretty similar as well.
Yeah. I think maybe we had in the end, Fnatic also went through. So I mean, we at least played 3 teams which made it through. The only one we didn't play, which didn't, was Liquid. But yeah, I mean, at the end, all this, you know, sometimes I also feel like if we would have lost Liquid and Vitality wouldn't have lost that game, we would have played them. We would have drawn Cloud9 for 2-0. Liquid for 2-1 and Vitality for 2-2, which would be like 2 to 5 teams. And then you could lose and you could say, oh, that's just very unfortunate luck of the draw, huh? But at the end, what the F are you going to do at a tournament if you can't win 3 best-of-3s against those kind of teams? What are you going to do in playoffs? You're going to go cry.
I told you.
Yeah,
We were talking in the shuttle. I said a guy like Cadian not going to blame a format. He's going to say you got to beat everybody.
Feels good
Isn't
to
that
hear
refreshing?
I've had enough of people talking about format and people using the format to explain why their favorite lost, and then suddenly if their favorite win, then it's absolutely okay. Yeah. So you've given your piece about the format. I appreciate that. What do you guys feel about how the format is working right now? Obviously, it's worked out for you, but
I think was all good because like all maps that we lost, it was our maps. Like I feel because versus Outsiders were starting comeback, and some rounds that we lost, it was very bad for us. Like very easily mistakes that we can fix, and that's it. Versus Furia, it's just the same. I think like all clashes that we should win, we lost, and that's it.
I
makes
have
sense.
one point about the format, which is that sometimes I feel like some people are like, they just want all the favorites to just go through. They just want the 8 best teams to go to the playoffs, and they're talking about the seeding thing. They want to like continually change like the seeding, so it's like that. But people are also saying that they want every game to matter. If you want every game to matter, then you should also fight for going 3-0 in the first stage.
Exactly.
Like otherwise you're gonna get punished if you're a 3-2 team. Maybe it's gonna hurt some of the teams waiting, but that's life.
Yeah, for sure.
I like
right?
that.
This is a competition.
I like that.
This is a competition, right? That's the end of the line at the end of the day. Now, I got a fun one here. Siren and Shush, you're obviously 2 of the quiet members we have on this panel, but you also play similar roles within the server. Do you ever like watch each other's demos for inspiration? You seen anything from Siren that you're like, yeah, I might take that?
Not really that much.
Yeah?
I feel like, but I feel like I've been missing something as well. Like I've been wanting to watch some demos of him,
Okay,
but I haven't done it yet. There's so many people to watch, so you can't watch everyone, you know.
fair enough. How about you? You watch any
I
Shush
do.
demos?
I watched a lot his demos on Overpass.
Yeah?
Yep.
Good help?
Of course.
You Bianca,
Yeah.
Bianca?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So is there a bit of a mutual respect there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was going to ask what you learned, but maybe that's classified information. Maybe it's classified information. Maybe we can have a little bit.
Well, I want to know.
I can't say.
Fair enough. That's right.
Well, I guess in this matchup, right, you two both have more explosive style of CS. To be fair, you guys were playing somewhat passive Counter-Strike yesterday, especially on Mirage. You guys were doing some slower defaults, but you guys can be quite in your face, both teams. So when you look at heroic style of Counter-Strike, what do you think, right? Do you think this is scary because they're hard to predict? Do you think it's better that they play like that because we are happy to take aim duels? What do you think when you look at heroic style?
I think it's just different CSGO, like every teams, because they're playing on the middle rounds more than in start round. They're like rotating something, pushing, and they're just a special team, you know.
So how do you feel about the comparison? Do you think you're a special team as well?
I don't know really. I can't.
Just listen to Chopper.
Yeah,
Yeah?
Have to,
for sure.
have to listen to the
Yeah,
leader.
fair enough. What's your synopsis of that situation?
Yeah, I think, I mean, like Patsy said, a lot of people talk about us as kind of special team because, yeah, we move a lot in the middle of the rounds and we try to kind of be one step ahead, like think what do the opponents want to do now? And most of the times it's working pretty good. I think Spirit, for me, they're not a special team, but they're a really, really good team. And I think actually they're one of the teams that, like, we don't talk about them. And it's kind of crazy, you know, they made top 4 at the last major and Job has just always been a steady IGL on LAN, and they are so young as well. Like their average age and that they perform to this level under these circumstances, I think it's super impressive. And I know there's like actually a lot of mutual respect between Spirit and us. And yeah, I've at least seen some of the demos as well, like from how they play. So I know some of the things they like to do, and they have their protocols for sure.
From your perspective as well, when Dexter and Spirit parted ways, few people might have thought that this was it. They were losing their main star and it would fall apart. Definitely not the case. They're rising back. What's your take on how they were able to handle that roster move and bounce back?
Yeah, I mean, I was super surprised because they made such a good run at the last major that they decided to part ways. I think that it's really hard to like judge, from a team which you don't know.
From the outside, absolutely.
I'll try my best, but it's the same with you guys. Like I put myself in your
Lots of
place.
guesswork.
It's so difficult.
Yeah,
it's so
of
difficult
course.
because you don't. But in my eyes, I think that Dexter is a really strong player. I think that what he could sometimes bring to Spirit is he could bring the. I wouldn't just say X factor because I think a lot of the players has X factor, but he could bring that kind of breaking out of the system theory kind of thing sometimes where Wonderful will, like Patsy said in the issue, if I understand correctly, he will listen to the plan, the structure, what to do. And that can sometimes be good, that you just follow the plan. Everyone knows what's happening. But sometimes you also need that guy to say, this plan is not working and I'm going to find the solution. So, but I mean, people said they lose Dexter, they're not going to make it back. And I'm sitting here talking to them right now.
Yeah. And we've heard from you guys in a couple of interviews talking about Dexter in recent times. I think Chopper has said some words, you've said some words, and you've got Wonderful in the team now. Do you find it a bit of a concern that he's only 17 and now he's going to play in this big arena and that an AWPer is going to be super important in a game against Heroic? Are you worried that Wonderful might have a hard time, or you think he's going to be fine?
I think it will be all good because like we are playing already on arena. Yes, it's not like too much people, but it's still very amazing crowd and like what wonderful say about this. It's very good things.
Okay.
So I think it will be good for sure.
Talking about the crowd,
Uh,
I have a weird question. Who do you think the crowd is going to cheer for? Who's
Heroic.
going to be the hero?
Heroic, yeah, for sure.
100%.
100%?
For sure.
100%.
For sure.
These guys are the
Alright, so
villains.
I mean, you also had a past of being out there, you know, taking on people,
They
being
just
the mean guy. That has happened too. So now we're in a redemption arc. Now they're the heroes of the people here and they're the villain.
Think so.
they
Cool.
just
Yeah.
hate us. I don't know. Like
Not
all
at all.
time.
Does that bother you?
No.
No?
We just all time like this.
But you win
okay.
last night, a big game. It means a lot. You're into the champion stage and it's quiet.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
We don't care.
You don't care?
Don't care.
Do you think that it's motivation?
Yeah.
Do you want to keep the crowd silent?
Yeah.
Yeah?
In Antwerp, it was the same. Like with Furia, was a lot of Brazilian fans.
Mm.
Yes, not too much, but still good like number.
Yeah.
And they were all cheering for Furia when we won versus them. They just was silent in the crowd.
Okay. Let's use your experience of not being the fan favorites. You hear that talk and they go, it doesn't matter. Does it really not matter? Because you guys have been there before as well. Does it affect you? Especially like on home turf when you're up against Astralis and even your countrymen, they're not cheering for you. That's got to hurt.
You can start. Mads.
Yeah, I feel like on home turf it means a little more. But I feel like in Antwerpen and I don't know, I can't remember Stockholm. They did the same. But
I mean, they were pretty good to us in Stockholm, actually.
okay, but then Antwerpen against NaVi.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were booing everyone. I mean, you tell yourself that it doesn't matter that much, but you can still feel it a little bit. Of course, you want the crowd to be on your side. But I mean, it still motivates you to make them want to be on your side. But it still hurts a little, you know.
I mean, everyone wants to get cheered on. That's just how it is. And it's true that, like they said, can you handle it? Some people can, some people cannot. But I think like we've tried it a few times now, like you said, so you gain some experience when you try it a few times. But like Patsy said, maybe it gives you some motivation when you win and you hear everyone is silent. That's kind of fun. That's what you play for sometimes when they are against you. But I can tell you from our side as well that when winning and them going crazy and them following the claps and stuff, that definitely also gives us a lot. And also because you said we had a bumpy ride sometimes with the crowd, you know, so feeling that kind of energy and that kind of love, it means something for us at least.
And when you were in that moment, in the bumpy rides, as a captain, as a leader, did you feel like it was your responsibility to kind of shield everybody from that and just create this heroic that you are now? Because I think as a captain, you were in a special position that moment.
For sure. But I mean, I know that my teammates look at me. So I go out to the crowd against Antwerp, NaVi. Everyone's cheering for NaVi. Our intro starts. We're not even on the stage yet. Start booing. And what do? I make this one, right? And what do I see in the photos on HLTV the day after? The rest does the same. Because we follow each other. We trust each other. If one guy buys into something, the rest will go the same way.
But that's the key with Heroic, right? And that's the every time we talk to you, we hear that, right? And it's like Heroic's this brotherhood that we see. And now you get to come in this matchup, you're going to have the crowd on your side. But I'll ask you guys, and obviously you want to have confidence, but do you think there's a favorite in this game? Matthew and I were talking in the van on the way in. For some reason, people don't rate Heroic. So in this game, do you think it's a 50-50? Do you think that you're heavy favorites? How do you mark this one down?
I think we're like slight favorites due to more experience and stuff like this. I think the reason why it can be hard sometimes to judge Spirit is because if they also had ESL spots and Blast partner spots, maybe they would be in like more deep runs at other tournaments as well. But I think the form we have shown lately, I think we won like 16 out of 19 games. And I think that's a pretty good shape to be in. Yeah, that's a pretty good shape to be in. But I also think that, like I said earlier, that Spirit is a team that people underestimate. So I don't think it's a lot. But in my opinion, I think we have some percentages, yeah.
All right, let's be nice to each other for a second. What do you think, either of you, is Heroic's biggest strength?
They're the smartest team, I think.
They're the smartest team.
Honest team.
Okay,
Huh?
because of the mid rounds.
Yeah.
So the decision making, it's quick, it's together. Okay, that's big praise.
That's a compliment for you right now.
Yeah.
What do you think is their biggest strength?
I think the combination of like their young raw talent and that they are already so far in the process of playing smart as a team. You know, they don't make many mistakes, and you don't see that on like players that age very often. So I think that's a big respect.
Okay, and let's make you guys the bad guys first. What is their biggest weakness?
Do you have something?
But Shush just like spits bars. Gets ready.
I have no idea actually.
You have a free pass to be mean
Yeah,
this moment.
We're all friends.
like
here.
you said, we've been villains for some times, but now we're
You
starting
have
to
to
be nice
embrace
guys.
it. You have to embrace again the dark side, you know.
I don't know. I haven't seen any big weaknesses, to be honest, from them. I think maybe, hopefully, the inexperience. You know, when they play in front of the crowd, when it's so crazy. But again, like Patsy said, they also did the last major against Furia. So I don't know. I think it's hard to say.
Okay, same question for you guys. What do you think's the weakness?
Do you have something?
Katie's been playing well, right? Like this is where the conversation is an interesting one. Because coming into this is what type of form we get Katie in. And I think, you know, what you're mentioning here, the inexperience, well, we mainly levy that at Wonderful because we don't know what to get from him on a big crowd. So both AWPers are going to be a big conversation point, right? Katie's been in good form. Do you think he can carry it through?
I think like
Hey, you're being
Wonderful
nice.
still can fight with him.
Okay.
It's okay.
They're being too nice.
I know.
I'm trying.
Is
He
that-
don't
is
need
that
to
our fault?
call.
Maybe we're
He
too
don't
nice.
need to call. So
True. He doesn't need a call.
more easily.
Yeah? Yeah, he's
play.
quick. Yeah, all right, all right. Well, you look at Wonderful play. He's quick. I know there's not too many head-to-head AWP duels, but you're favoring yourself in those fights.
No
Yeah.
comment. No comment.
All right. Well, I think we're coming to the close of this
I
one
think we
here.
have it,
Do we
huh?
have any final questions
Who do you guys got?
in the matchup? Mate, I've slept. I haven't had any time to look at the head-to-heads just yet. The last time round, you guys played in Antwerp, right?
We played in the Swiss format in Antwerp.
Yeah.
On Nuke, we had an incredible CT side. I aced these guys in the pistol round on B side.
Good memory.
But they made a really nice comeback on the CT side. Yeah, so we lost, I think, 16-13 or something.
Okay. So close one. But that was some time ago now. You have a different roster. They have a different roster. So in terms of the head-to-head of this, I don't know. I'm going to have to look at the X and the O's here before I start throwing predictions.
I think I have a recency bias for Spirit because I saw the game versus Liquid, and that impressed me. Like some of these like tense moments, like where you are supposed to lose. They have more experience. You are supposed to lose the clutch, and they didn't.
Okay.
And that kind of impressed me a lot.
All right, one final question, then we'll close it down. Who's going to win the quarterfinal on your side of the bracket, NaVi or Furia?
Oh, I don't know. It's very hard to say because Furia have very good crowd, but overall, NaVi is better team. Like I don't know really what to say. I think it's 50-50, and it will be a very hard match for both of teams.
Yeah, I think pretty much the same. I don't feel like NaVi have ever tried having a crowd being against them, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they react to that.
I
Good time
mean,
for a first.
simple tweeting, please don't boo at us.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Do
my
you
world.
think that's going to affect him?
I mean, are they gonna boo?
I think they will.
They might.
Why not?
I mean, I see a way where NaVi doesn't have the same group, you know. They know they're going to change some Die Young. And the thing is also, something we didn't talk about is that, I mean, these two young guys are sitting here. Cloud9 is sitting on the other side as well. There are some CIS rosters who are probably questioning who is NaVi going to go for after the major. And maybe that's also going to...
Bring it on top at the end of the
Leave us with a
conversation.
bit of a cliffhanger here. All right, thank you very much, Kadian. Thanks, boys. Thanks for joining us here today for this bit of a chit-chat. It's been a pleasure.
It has.
Welcome, everybody, to our Champions Round Table discussion. Myself, Freya Spears, and Launders have got some very special guests joining us. Of course, Frozen, JDC from the side of Mouse, Hobbit, and Nafani from Cloud9. Gentlemen, how's it feeling to be at the playoff stage of the major?
Feels amazing. I mean, it's first playoffs for us in the major ever, and yeah, I think we couldn't be happier more than just. It's crazy.
I think our team is hyped to play versus such a big crowd and in front of such a loud crowd. So yeah, I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts when we enter that arena. We were just discussing in the van on the way here, the fact that we have, some major newcomers, but also a major champion in our wakes as well, back in Krakow 2017. What were you guys doing when Hobbit lifted the major trophy? Were you watching?
Yeah, I was watching. I mean, it's always all.
impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think like kind of before. I think like nobody expected it from Hobbit back then, right? If I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I mean, he got that major MVP, right? Major trophy. I think it was a crazy story back then. And also, I think the final was like Gambit versus Immortals, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
I was just at home, you know, enjoying Counter-Strike, you know, having fun.
Now you know anything is possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think always everything is possible, you know. If you believe and put everything to it, then you can achieve whatever you want.
People have been saying that a little bit about this major and a lot of the top teams right now saying 16 out of 16 teams can all beat each other. Do you really believe that that's the case?
I think I do. I think CS is on the highest level it has ever been. I think every team is learning a lot on a daily basis. Everyone is developing insanely fast. And overall, there is so much going on that I think it's on a good day, everyone can beat everyone. And it very comes down to the mental game of the teams and how they feel. So overall, it's just a competitive scene right now.
You said that, I think, yourself.
Yeah, I said it like in few interview before, and every team can beat every team. But let's say that the more consistent teams usually like taking their places on the top. I mean, so for example, FaZe, they not play so well here, but if we will look on this year, they're always on the top. So that's it.
It kind of gives me the vibes from Krakow in 2017 because we went into that and I don't think anybody expected Gambit and Immortals to make it into the grand final as well. Yeah? Did you feel that at all?
The biggest difference is on young players. Right now, a lot of young, talented players. For example, as you can see, Mousesports, Frozen, GDC, they're doing really well. And a lot of, for example, my team, all of my team, very young. And it's like meta. Young players and young people learning better and faster and growing faster. And that's the first thing which is the most big difference between 2017 and 2021, 2022. And a lot of teams very professional right now, a lot organizations, and they know already what to do that their team should be at the top, because a lot of examples already. CSGO is like new game and new competitive game, I'm gonna say like that. And a lot of people still learning and upgrading, improving. So of course nowadays CSGO is very competitive, very. Every team can adapt and outplay another team. And a lot of strategies already created. You can use new strategy, you can use old strategy. A lot of things what you can use actually. So that's the main thing. That's it.
Yeah, I think there's like way more depth, right? Just in terms of, the play styles we see as well. And what you were saying about orgs too, the fact that we have these academy rosters as well. JDC, you hail from one of them yourself. So Torsey came in first from the NXT project, and then it was yourself.
Then it was me, and then after that, it was Dory, Sergion. Well, I mean, academy project was very huge. I think developing young players, because they learn very fast and they are very mature for the age already, is very helpful for the scene in general. I mean, obviously you have a lack of experience, at least that's the weak side of it. But overall, learning fast compensates to that, I would say. Overall, everything getting more professional is true as well. I would say you get the right help at the right moments, and it's not as hard to develop into the scene as it probably was way back. I mean, 2017, I was watching the major. I was nowhere near, I was thinking about playing there, but I was nowhere near that, And now being here is a huge thing for me. But it just happened because everything was developing so fast, and you got a way easier way of getting information as well than it was back in the days, I would say.
Frozen, you're kind of the archetype of a academy player. You're still only 20 years old. Played more maps than everybody else on your team combined. And so you've got like all this experience, but you started really young. Could you reframed in my memory? I used to see posts about you on Reddit when you were like 13 years old, I think. Okay, what was the story back then? How much FACEIT were you playing? Why were you on Reddit?
Well, I think the story comes like when I was, I don't know, like as you say, 12, 13, I started running FACEIT, premium, getting, back then I was just playing for skins. I mean, if you placed good on FACEIT, you will get some nice skins. So yeah, I was just climbing the ladders, Diamond League, Master League, and then the FPL Challenger got created. I think that was one of the things that helped me a lot back then. Even though, I mean, FPL was already there, but I think back then you couldn't really qualify there. You could only get invited. So yeah, I mean, I was just grinding, you know. I got invited to FPL Challenger, and there I saw basically an opportunity to get known more, and it was always my dream to play with the top players. So yeah, I was playing Face It. At the same time, I was having teams already in 1.6 when I was 8 years old, you know.
8 years old.
Yes, I mean, I was...
Your feet aren't even touching the ground.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of one thing about me that I always, even though I was playing a lot of packs, I was always in the teams. So it was kind of easy for me, even though when I was 16, I already knew what is needed for the team, you know. So yeah, I mean, I was grinding, playing in the teams at the same time, and, you know, just getting better every day. And I mean, I think it was harder back then when there was no Vplay for me.
Yeah. So now, I mean, now this version of your roster, of course, this is the first top 8s for you since first of 2 top 8s at majors for the Mousesports organization as a whole. But now with this team, like, you know, you played Kerrigan, Rops. You know, a lot of people have come and gone through Mousesports. You never had that stability, like one roster that really makes a lot of sense that's going forward. But you guys feel like you're kind of there right now. So do you feel like this is the best kind of roster or version of the roster that you played with?
I would say so. I mean, this team, it feels completely different than other lineups that I've been to. It feels like we're, you know, one unit. We got we got each other's back no matter what. Somebody has a bad game, doesn't really matter. Like, we know, like, you look left, you look right, you know, there's your homie next to you. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we just have each other's back, and I think that's one thing that is like very good about us, you know, like we are just a one unit, and we are in this together no matter what.
And Nef, I have a question for you. You, as well as the Gambit youngsters roster, come up together and flip the main roster. Kind of similar stories, which is kind of cool. But you haven't even been playing for that long, right? So when you started, could you talk about what your come up was like with the roster, how you guys found each other, and
So first of all, it was kind of like 20 players who wants to be in Gambit youngsters. And Finn was like choosing which one he wants to in his lineup. And as far as I remember, the first 2 players was Supra and Shiro. So I was playing with Shiro like 3 years already before Gambit youngsters, and he knew what kind of player I am, and that's the main reason I believe why I was in Gambit youngsters, because first time I was tested in another position, and seems like Blade or Finn said, seems like this guy is not so well. And then they tested the other players, and they choose me. And the first 2 months we played with even 3 different players, because the first one was Wag Banat, and second one was he just don't have a passport to attend the Copenhagen Games.
Oh, no. Nice story.
Yes. And the third one was Axel. He was in the main lineup, but they have some struggle with lineup, so he just was like a stand-in for first tournament. And after that, it was just feeling when, as Frozen said, we just feel that we have like the homie have our back. And I mean, the whole our lineup was feeling great, but we didn't have like experienced guy who will teach us how we should communicate in the game. The Hobbit was the guy who just told us that what is let's say be sure that you will win your next game, and you should not care about like what will happen after that. And I mean, he bring us a lot of experience. And also we should mention Groove, because he gave us a lot. I mean, the whole our structure, the whole our play style, it's more about not only about like Finn, that's more about like Groove and Thing. They communicate a lot. They make, I mean, great job. And if we will say about like how we became like from Gambit youngsters to Gambit, it's more about them because they make a great work, and I'm here because of them. So that's it.
I remember like how much of a grind it was for you guys. You were kind of attending pretty much every tournament you could get your hands on, all the DreamHack Opens. You were always there grinding it out. For you, Hobbit, kind of going from, you know, formerly winning a major with a completely different looking roster, then to going to playing with a lot of younger guys. What was that experience like for you?
I mean, the first of all, it was really different. When I was looking for a Gambit youngsters roster, I was like, they're playing really well. They have everything. But of course, some micro moments, some macro moments, of course. And at that moment, they didn't have a groove, as I remember. We just joined it together. And we were speaking with Groove a lot, like what we need to fix, what we need to do. But I already saw that these guys like have very big perspective to be the best. I mean, literally. And they were like tier 2 team at that moment. But I have been on like on top of level, but it was just once, just a couple of tournaments, not long time. But I saw it, how to be there and what you need to have to be there. I came to Gambit youngsters. I was like, they have everything. We just need to play, believe. We just need some confidence, experience, time. That's it. Nothing special. A lot of people just saying experience about me, for example. Experience. Of course, I'm adding something, but in total, they're just amazing. That's it. I mean, I'm very happy that I came inside of this team, exactly Gambit youngsters, and playing exactly with them. I mean, I'm lucky guy. Yeah.
I love it. It's so wholesome.
Once I came to the most experienced team in CIS. It was Adrian, Doja, Mo, and Zeus.
Yeah.
Now I came the most perspective guys who have a lot of talent, motivation, everything. I mean, of course, I'm lucky guy.
Well, you speaking of things that you need to fix with the roster, you guys have had a arduous kind of challenger stage and a legend stage. You guys fought everybody in a really, really difficult legend stage as well. But one thing that stood out is both the contrast between great CT sides and a really tough T sides in the current meta. Is there anything that you can learn from Mouse NXT Mouse about how to improve on these T sides? Yep.
I will try to. I mean, the Mouse T side very aggressive, the first of all, and they're doing really good headshots, the first of all. Yes.
Talking about you.
Yes, of course they have like structure, tactics, but the first of all they're playing individually good. So nowadays, CSGO is all about CT meta just because of M4 silencer. It's overpowered, especially on tournaments.
Say it louder for the people in the back. It's overpowered.
You're playing online tournaments, you can even hear from where the guy is shooting to you. Here, zero chance. You're just, someone's shooting me, okay, I'm gonna die. You're not giving info because you do not understand from where. So it's overpowered. A lot of noise, crowd, and M4 silencer. No, it's no chance. Of course, it's city-sided.
I want to reiterate, you put on our Volvo Please ladder, buff the A1S. Get this kid out. Get this kid out of here.
I just want to see if it makes you mad when you read it, then you know we're onto something. Okay, but I also want to ask you, okay, well, sorry, I want to ask Mouse now, because, you know, you've got the T sides figured out, but they have the comebacks figured out, okay? What can you learn from Cloud9 about how to pull off miraculous, enormous comebacks under high-pressure situations?
You want me to answer that, yeah? I mean,
I can add something to that, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, the biggest aspect of a comeback is the mental game, in my eyes. I think you can never make a comeback if you don't believe. Overall, I think staying calm when you are down that hard in an important game is very important as well. I think as well you need to rely on what you've practiced and what you've worked for the whole time, because in those moments, the only thing that can help you is what you have studied for the preparation in a way, right? In general, great teams make great things happen. And if you believe you're a great team, you can make great comebacks. So I think you just have to fight for every round and don't look at the score, don't look at the stats, don't look at anything. Just give everything you have every round. And if it's enough, it will pay. And if it's not, you will learn.
Did you feel that? Oh, sorry.
Is he lying, or did he get anything wrong there?
I would just add to that. I mean, you cannot look at the score, like you're losing 11-4, 12-3. Of course, like there's so many rounds that you need to get, but you just need to take it round by round, literally. And don't, as he said, don't even look at the score. Like, just believe, and it's gonna pay off at one point.
Yeah.
Actually, the main thing, you should be calm, and that's it.
Okay.
Actually, I don't even remember in which scores we come back. So
yeah, it was almost all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I even knew that it was come back only from social media. I mean, after the game, I was like, okay, we did come back, okay, again.
Oh, really? Well.
Nice. I mean, it always was at city side, as far as I remember. I'm not sure, but as far as I remember, it was always at city side. And here's we again can say about M4, which is so overpowered. I mean, if you knew how you can realize it, it's so easy.
Did you feel that in terms of, I guess you guys kind of had inverse kind of challenges, Legend stage run. Obviously, you guys were just 1 best of 3 from elimination back in that challenger stage. Whereas for you guys went through 3-0, but coming into Legends, obviously, you went to the 3rd and final map. In the final game you could have possibly been playing to qualify for that playoff stage. Did you ever feel those moments of pressure in that moment?
I didn't.
No?
A Mirage?
Oh, Mirage?
No, not Mirage.
I mean, not really, to be honest. Even though it was like 8-0 or 8-1 or whatever the score was, like, again, like, if we just taking it round by round, you win one round, you just gotta stay calm.
Yeah.
That is it, basically. It doesn't matter what the score says. As far as you don't lose to yourself in your head, then you're always in the match.
It's easy to say that when you get your ass carried by Dexter, though, isn't it?
I mean, to be fair, if they came B, we were ready with my boy. But these guys, they just kept coming A. I mean, you want to mess with my boy Dexter, like, he's going to let them know.
Yeah.
I think something that struck me after your guys' win was like you had one of the most emotional reactions to qualifying for the playoffs. Like most of you guys were in tears. It was a really beautiful moment to be witnessing on the broadcast. How emotional would you say that you guys are kind of as a team? Do you let those emotions ever get the better of you?
I don't think we let emotions get the better of us.
Okay.
I think it's important to have emotions. I think it's important to control emotions. Emotions should not take the better of you in any sentence. You should never be afraid. You should never feel down or whatever. You should always be focused and calm. But you as well need to know when to celebrate and when to be happy. I think life is about enjoying as well, right? And if you make something like this, even though the job is not finished, but you still need to enjoy the moment, and enjoy the work you've put in with the people around you. And it wasn't easy, it's been a struggle, so you got to celebrate that. And we have emotional people on the team, I would consider so. I mean, everyone is just happy and very talkative and high energy, but I don't think it hurts us in any way.
I think that was the first moment I've ever seen Dexter almost in tears. That was lovely, wholesome.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I've been with the guy in the team for 2 years. I never saw him cry.
And for you guys, in terms of that kind of challenger stage run and everybody saying, you're 1 best of 3 away from elimination, was there a pivot point for you at all? Was there anything you changed, or was it, just getting used to the environment you were playing in?
I guess we just was not so warmed up before this tournament, let's say. And on this tournament, we just feel that we can beat everyone, and that's it. We just feel this, and then everything was good. That's it.
Wrap it up. Okay, cool. You don't have any more questions or anything?
No, I was just going to ask
Okay.
JC
We're having
why
such
he
a
hates
good time.
Norbert, but
Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining us in our champion stage roundtable discussion. Very much looking forward to seeing you guys going head-to-head in that quarterfinal.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Champions Roundtable. I'm joined here by, well, 4 of our champions. Got Mezzy and Roy, got Fame and Flit.
Wow.
And Yanko. We have a champion named Yanko as well.
Thank you.
First of all, I guess I'm going to start with you guys really quick just because on some level, probably the unlikeliest of champions we have in the stage. I felt like the conversation that you guys were having in the Legend stage was like, we've kind of achieved our goals. You know, we got to top 16. That's kind of where we had set the bar. Everything after this is gravy. And you still went on to just destroy everyone and get here.
Yeah, I think that kind of comes with like no pressure, and I think we all saw our potential, and definitely in the previous tournaments we could see our progression in each tournament. So I think we all knew we could make it, but I think we all know when you set high expectations and the big goals, you also know you set a lot of pressure on yourself as well.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of set realistic goals and then kind of went from there and really knew where we could get to.
Cool. Roy, any thoughts? I mean, you were at Copenhagen Flames. You guys actually challenged to be at this stage a couple of times as well.
Yeah, I think like coming, like the practice beforehand, I think went really good. I think we've been playing super good in practice in general, and also doing great, great progression throughout the time we've been playing together. And I think we kind of expected to show a better level coming just from the get-go. But I think we had some issues in the first couple of matches, and we had a kind of rough challenger stage. And I think we just slowly, talked about it and learned from it, and I think now we're finally seeing the kind of like level that we can play at in the last 2 games. I feel like that we've been showing in practice and how we feel, how good we actually are,
Learning on the job.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we just like slowly got there, and I just really hope that we can keep it going for the next stage, because that will be good.
Well, for me also, you guys haven't been together for a very long time, but there seems to be, already the lineup is very cohesive. There seems to be a lot of trust, right, between the players. How were you able to get to that point so quickly?
I think, like, I even said to everyone, like, even when we had our first boot camp, before we picked up Fashion, we picked up Roy and Nico. I think instantly it felt like we were kind of a team for a long time, and we got on super well. And even the talks before we picked up, we kind of made sure that we all knew what was important, and we all felt like the team chemistry and like the team environment was super important to us. So I think from the get-go, we kind of made sure we had a focus on that, and I think straight away we kind of saw it, and that's definitely helping us in-game and outside the game, like make sure we're really open with each other and honest, and I think that definitely helps you improve a lot faster, and instead of people like keeping on to frustration and not actually letting it out.
Yeah. Mezzy, I want to know what is important to you, because since you joined Cloud9 almost 2 years ago, you've played pretty much every role there is to play in Counter-Strike. You've changed a lot of teams. Now you have to be the in-game leader. So do you enjoy being the in-game leader? Like now, is it something that you wanted to do, or is it something that you kind of had to do and are growing into it?
Something definitely I wanted to do, because I think, like I said, I've been playing quite a few different roles, and for me, it's like it's a new challenge, and it kind of added some extra motivation for me, and kind of like I knew exactly if we got the right players that I could definitely do the role to a good level, and obviously it's always a work in progress. Even with the top IGLs now, it's like it's always going to be rough, and especially in the meta at the moment, the CT sides are like really hard to play against. So a lot of rough T sides, and I think there's always a lot of responsibility. But for me, it was always something I wanted to do, and saw it as a new challenge. And we just need to make sure we had the right players to actually, for me to be actually performing as an IGL and not focus too much on micromanaging and so on. I think we've got a good mix at the moment where we can have a lot of players like Roy who can second call and take a lot of initiative.
For you guys, the conversation's like the exact opposite. You guys were kind of expected to be a top 8 team. One thing that's unique about you guys is, do you feel that you guys get like a lack of appreciation for the kind of Counter-Strike you guys play? You're labeled as kind of a boring team, a slow team, a team that saves. When you hear those comments publicly, are you just like, screw these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone is saying that why are you playing that slow or something like that, but we do believe in this like game, and that's all. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah, perfect.
That's good. So, what do you think Fnatic picks next? Because last time around, their pick didn't really work out great for them.
You mean what they pick will map?
Yeah.
I think it will be same maps.
same map. Well, I bet you were hoping for it at least. But my question is also, what is it that you guys think is that something that you have that the other teams don't have that could help you win the tournament?
I think we are 5 people who living together
1 year, like we play together. This time we're living together. I see him 17 hours per day, every day, and we believing in one things, in one mind games, and that's it maybe.
Cool. I have the same question for you guys.
I think like I mean, so far we've been on the same page in terms of like how we want to play and how we want to approach the game. And I think outside of the game we all fit really well, and we are good friends outside of the game, like spending time with each other. And I think that's kind of important. And I think that was also one of the things that Fnatic wanted to like bring in this team around to like have a team that really functioned well outside of the game, because usually that also contrasts into the game. And I think we've been finding that really well. And I think we have the talent, we have all we need. I think we just need maybe a little bit more experience and playing on the stages and deal with all the nerves and all the things that comes into the game. And I think we'll be great, because I think what we've been showing so far and slowly been progressing into is something really good.
Does it help having a guy like Crims on the team with that stuff, who's played like 100 major games or something?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's, I asked him one time how he was feeling like playing on stage, and he was like, whatever, like he just like he doesn't really care, I think that's what he loves. Like every single time we talk about like how we want to play and like where do we like to play the most, he's always like on the stages. That's where he thrives and that's what he likes. So I can't wait to like he has like a kind of like a calm, to him, and when you get on the stage and you play the game, he's always the guy who's like, just settle down and like don't stress too much, like just relax. And I think he really enjoys the moment on stage, and like that's where he thrives. So that's a really good thing to have when you're on a team like us, because we have some unexperienced guys, and myself, I haven't really played on stage that much, so it's really nice to have a guy who just, you can just always count on him being calm and
chills.
Ready. Yeah, exactly.
For you guys, I want to touch on, and you're in-game leader, on James. I know a lot of the conversations that I have with like players outside of the game and outside of events, there's a lot of respect for James as an in-game leader and for his thoughts about Counter-Strike and how he calls the game. And you guys obviously have this unique style. Can you just touch on like what kind of respect you have for James in terms of his tactical and strategic Counter-Strike mind?
It's hard to explain. He just he knows more than anyone in this world, maybe, and he just living the game, always like watching something new, trying to find something new, some good ideas, some good rounds, or I don't know. And we all respect him, and we believe to him for 100%. He knew how to communicate with young people. He knew how to communicate with old people. He can make from young player like Fame was a really good player for short time,
Yeah.
And he helped him a lot, and he understands what he do.
Good at raising the level of a young player. What's it been for you? I mean, we've had this conversation throughout the whole event about playing in front of this crowd in the Challenger and Legends stage. What's it been like for you guys in front of this crazy Brazilian crowd? Like, have you experienced anything like this before?
I didn't see such an experience before. It's my first game in front of the biggest crowd. I don't know. And
were you nervous?
No.
All right.
And it was really cool. I liked it, and just excited to play in front of like 15,000 people.
15, yeah.
Yes. Looking forward
Yeah.
to play in front of them.
You guys played a couple of games on the stage, like the 9Z game, obviously, to go through against a hostile crowd, so to speak. Like, was it difficult? Did it affect your like calling at all in terms of, was there an element where you were like, I need to kind of not let myself get carried away with this crowd thing and just kind of keep, my eyes on the prize?
I don't think it was too bad. I think it was a lot different because we played our first stage game against OG, I think, and obviously I think there were not as many fans, and obviously it's not like a home crowd then. So I think for us it was a bit different, and going to the 9Z game, it's completely different and a lot louder, and you could get into game, you could hardly hear anything. So I think for us it was obviously different, but I think for me it was just kind of, I think that's when the experience of like Crims on the team helps a lot, because he's really good at calming us down, and when it gets to the chaotic situations, it might happen once or twice in the game, but then he's really good at least for me, like to make sure I'm staying calm and can make sure the calls are calm as well, and like straight to the point, and I'm still being controlled and having that responsibility in the team. So I think in the 9Z game, there's obviously sometimes it was a new experience for me. It's always going to be different, but I think as time goes on and as the rounds went on in that game, at least it felt a lot more comfortable for me, at least.
What's it been like for you, Roy, with the success that you guys had in Copenhagen Flames? and like kind of towards the end of that, coming to the realization that team was just going to be like picked apart for scraps and for pieces. So what's it like seeing all your teammates from that team like kind of spread out and go to different teams, and some finding success, some not finding success, but just kind of watching the whole team, you know?
I mean, I love all the guys. We had a really, really great time, and of course, it was kind of sad that we couldn't stay together. There was like different things to it, and I wanted to try something new as well and experience something new. And I also wanted to stay with the guys, but there was just some things that just didn't make it work, you know. So I'm just really happy to see everyone like doing really well, because like obviously we almost, I think all four of us was in the Legend stage actually, except for Hooksy, and I think of course I felt really bad for Hooksy, and I've talked to him a lot. Like also talking to him here, like he's a really good friend of mine, like outside the game, so I talk with him a lot, and of course I was very sad not to be able to like talk to him here at the event, but that's just how it is, Counter-Strike sometimes. But I mean, I think it feels great to see everyone thrive, and it's so nice as well when we hit the events that we can, like, we're all really good friends and we like to see each other and talk to each other, so it feels really good. But yeah, of course it's a bit sad that we couldn't stay together, but I'm really happy to be in this team as well, because I think we just click so much, like so well. It's of course something different because we speak English and there's like other cultures and stuff, but also that's like an exciting thing. And I'm also happy to have Nico, of course. It makes it a little bit easier with the traveling and all that. I can always go with him and stuff like that. But yeah, it's nice to see everyone thrive.
Do you guys feel like, because, you know, FaZe was 0-3, G2 didn't even make it here, Astralis didn't either, Vitality was out, right? Liquid went out yesterday too. Do you guys feel like it's, you know, changing of the guard, so to speak, right? When you look at the teams that have made it and just how some of these teams play and where they are right now?
I think maybe if it keeps going on for the next events, then yes. I think it's kind of hard to say when it's just one event, and I know there's a lot of like criticism towards the system and like the book hole system and all those kind of things. So I guess I kind of like understand why it happens, because some of the favorites lose against like matches where they should win, and it's kind of a hard battle right now, I feel like, because people are like trying to argue against and against for, like, they don't deserve to be there, like they didn't win against those guys. But I think like it's kind of hard to say. I think if it keeps on going for the next major, if it's the same system and we see it again, maybe it was just a shift in the meta, maybe that's doing something. Because obviously FaZe have had a lot of chances and they were like ahead in a lot of games, but they threw the games on the T side. So I think it's kind of exciting, to be honest, because it feels like something I haven't really felt like the CT meta that much before, but it's like all of a sudden at the major, without like no like specific reason, it just feels like it doesn't work out on the C side, you know? And it's kind of exciting a little bit.
Well, maybe not changing of the guard, but definitely CIS Counter-Strike still reigns supreme. 4 teams in the playoffs here at the Rio Major. So what is it that, in your guys' opinion, that, you know, CIS teams maybe have in common, or that style of Counter-Strike that, you know, is being so successful right now?
First of all, we all are really proud of this result of CIS region, that 4 teams in the playoffs. And what can I say? Why? Maybe it's nice, like puzzle of experience and young players in these teams, like outsiders. Cloud9 are just, I don't take, because they're playing 2 or 3 years together, like 4 people. And Hobbit came very young, or very experienced player, I mean, and he brought some of his experience and teach the guys. Spirit, Chopper is very experienced player. We all respect him in CIS, and we all knew those young guys, and they're nice guys as well. And NaVi, of course, what can I say? Yeah, but it's nice. Everyone respects CIS now.
Is there more young talent in CIS that we haven't seen yet? When you guys are playing back home in the region and everything, do you like, are there players where you're just like, these guys are going to be 2 years from now, they're going to be crazy?
We don't know really, but we have like a lot of CS schools in our region, a lot of coaches who support young people, and they progressive in day to day, and I think we will see a lot.
Okay, cool. How about with you guys? I mean, what's this been like? You said like a shift in the meta at all. What's it been like catching up? Because I know when we talked to teams like Liquid, they mentioned they had to do like a huge, like Yakinder comes in and they have to basically just kind of rely on him to kind of completely revamp their style. So have you guys felt like this whole shift where you have to almost learn a different way of playing than what you experienced in the past 3 years or so, like pretty much out of the online era?
Maybe not so much a like completely different style, but I think teams have probably spent so much time looking at other teams and anti-ing other teams and kind of missed looking at themselves so much. And I think it's the same for us now. I think teams are spending so much time anti-stratting, and I think sometimes you just have to focus so much on yourselves. And I think sometimes if you focus so much on other teams, you lose your own style and lose your own identity. And I think that's kind of what's happened. I think especially on a lot of the rough T sides for a lot of teams. So I think not so much a style, but more like kind of taking it back more to basics and foundations and focusing more on yourselves as a team and not so much on other teams, because obviously you can always take ideas and take new rounds and so on, but there's never going to be so much like longevity in that, because there's always been teams in the past that have new rounds for a tournament and then you can't do it constantly because of the schedule and so on. Yeah. So I think it's just more about focusing on yourself as a team instead of so much on other teams, because I think teams now are so good at like kind of focused on themselves and like making sure they're not doing the same things over and over. So I think it's always hard to look at them, and you have to focus so much on yourself as a team and making sure you're not doing the same stuff. So
I think also there's been like, at least with me and Hooksy, I think we kind of felt that we were on the right path in some way, you know, because we were like really hard to read, and we wanted to have like everyone on the team needs to have responsibility, where I think like back in the days there was more like one leader, in-game leader, who had a lot of like responsibilities and micromanaging and like leading everything and controlling everything. And I think we're kind of slowly shifting away a little bit from that, where all individuals on the team kind of have their responsibilities to be able to call around or mid-round call or like, you know, just do something on the fly. Because I think if you do that, then everyone has their own way of like switching things up, and you become really hard to read. And I think just as soon as you're like really hard to read and everyone has responsibility, I think that's when you're like really becoming a good team. And I think that's what we're seeing now slowly, you know, because I feel like teams are like, and players as well are just becoming better and better. And
They're
I think
so
like,
good now.
yeah,
The bottom
and
is
like,
raised.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's what you need on a team right now to become really good.
Well, to talk about your guys' matchup a little bit, you already played the game in the challenger stage, right? The 2-1 game. So I want to know how difficult or annoying is it to play against outsiders, like with the amount of saving. Because, you know, on the T side, for you as an in-game, like every round, you know, if there's one op and one M4 in play, that's like a gun round, even if it's 3 pistols. So how much strain does that put on you to constantly have to, you know, come up with another thing and another gun round, and that they're always playing the percentages?
Yeah, I think there's never like a point where, obviously you can never relax in a game, but there's never a round where there's an eco.
Yeah, there's 5 blocks.
I think when we played the Mirage game, it was a 16-14, and it felt like the last 5 rounds, I think they saved 3 guns every single round. It was like we're up against the gun round every single time. And obviously then it's like, it feels good because you're starting to win rounds, but then you always know the next round's always going to be a buy round. And like I say, you always got to make sure you're making the right call and making sure you're not becoming too readable. And like I said, I think it's always really tough when you're going up against these guys, because it is obviously really annoying when they've got guns every single round, because there's, like I said, there's never a point where you can go, okay, the Rico now we can,
especially against the saved off,
especially against the saved off as well. It's like, yeah, it becomes really tough, and it's obviously a lot different to any other team. So and when you save 3 guns and maybe they have like 2 bad guns, it's like sometimes the save guns do something a bit different as well. So it's like you got to take in a lot more factors than just a normal gun round. So it becomes a lot more difficult to play against.
Well, obviously the overpass game, you know, everything went wrong. Those games happen. But the Mirage game, as you said, was like 16-14 in their favor. So what are, you know, without going too much into detail, but what do you feel like you guys could do a little bit better, like what you were missing in that game that could have gotten you over the finish line?
I think we had like a bad idea, like coming into the game. I think we had like a way we wanted to play, and we didn't really do that. I think there was something that happened in the game, especially in overpass, that was kind of like, oh, this was not what we expected, or we maybe like were afraid of something that wasn't going to happen. And I think that was just kind of like froze us up, and kind of like we started second guessing ourselves. And when they play a pretty passive game, and when you start like not taking the space when you can do it, and you play slow, then you just end up really in a bad situation, I think. And yeah, obviously the thing that they're really good at, saving and making count comfortable, that's something we're really bad at, and we have had like a talk about. And
I have this one. Let's go for it, boys.
Yeah,
you know, I'll flash them as you go running.
Like, we've done that so much where we're just like we go for like unwinnable retakes and stuff like that. And I think we actually against like we played an Inferno. I'm not sure who was it. I think it was it against we played where we actually saved a lot of times, and we actually won the round after with like the hero weapons, and I think that kind of made us realize that we just need to like someone just needs to take charge sometimes and just say like, just save guys.
A little bit
Just-
smarter on their side,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. 'cause- yeah.
I just wanted to like throw it to you guys now, like the sort of a same thing. We talk about on the desk often, you know, you play the same team in the same tournament twice. It's hard for the team that won. You know, on one side you beat them, but on the other side, you know, they're looking more at the details. You feel like you're doing more of the same. So is that fine for you guys? Do you like care that you played them already? Would you have rather played like a different team, or are you happy to face them again because you beat them?
I think it's fine for us. It doesn't matter for us against who we playing, and we just gonna prepare like we always do. Same mindset, same everything, same preparation, and we respect these guys. And it doesn't matter if we won or we lose to them. We're just gonna play our game. Doesn't matter.
You mentioned James earlier as someone who's really good with working with kind of the younger players. Can I just ask you about Kickert as well? Because he's also an experienced player from the region, also been in a major final as well. What's it been like having him with you also? Does he have a leadership role within the team, or is he another chess piece for James?
I don't know how to explain, but he's experienced, but he helped a lot of to Fame, Norbert, and help to James how to do some rounds, you know, how to do some calls, and he know how to think, how to do his mindset, and before these games, like, and help young people how to think before these games, and he just experience, and he try to give his energy to young people, and that's it.
Okay, helps them get comfortable. Nice. When you guys look at, we just talked about kind of like the rise of the CIS region, when you guys look around at some of the other European teams and North American teams and South American teams, is there a team you guys look at and you really like the style of what they play? Since you guys are so unique, do you see any teams that you like to take some things from? Or you're like, oh, FaZe does this really well, Liquid's doing this really well? Had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I know. It's just all the world
I
teams
think we're
like
looking for all teams.
Yeah, all the best teams in the world. We all watch them, their games, and
I think all players doing like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just
nothing special.
Well, Messi, for you, you know, as a newer player and also new in the in-game leader role, is there someone you look up to? Who do you look up to, like, and try to maybe emulate a little bit, or you just like his style or his team style?
Mighty Max, maybe.
Really?
That's a
troll. You're worse than Jason.
No, but I wouldn't say there's one person. I think I kind of like to take experience, obviously, from previous in-game leaders when I've obviously played with Max and Alex and so on, and kind of take some things from them and like what I thought was nice and obviously didn't like in a team. And I think it's the same as like everyone says it. You kind of watch as much as you can and don't base it off too much off one person, because like, so I think so many like players are so good now, they're really good at adapting and reading the game, so you kind of need an answer in a plan A, B and C. So I think for me it's kind of just making sure I can watch as many games and as many different players as I can, because at that point, like I said, I always have at least try and have answers for most things, and obviously sometimes it's hard, but I wouldn't say it's just one person, but I think, like I said, it makes it a lot easier when we've got players like Roy that can also make calls as well, because sometimes you don't have the answers, and like I said, it's just about watching as much CS as you can to make sure you have the ideas.
Can I ask about Nikodas really quick? Because he had a pretty slow start to this tournament. He had a couple games that were a little bit quieter than we're used to seeing from him, but obviously really stepped it up towards the end when you guys actually qualified. Is there a reason like you guys like this event came in and he was a little bit slow? Is it just like a bad start? Was it a rough game plan where he wasn't put in a good position, or is there any particular reason for that?
I think we have like I myself even as well had a pretty bad event, and I think he as well. But he usually performs actually really well on lane compared to online. I think he gets a little bit nervous and he has a lot of nerves, but he actually composed it pretty well, and I think he likes it. And usually when I see him play the best is actually like at really high pressure games, and he doesn't feel like a guy who's like really get affected by it. But when you talk to him afterwards, he would be like, yeah, I was shaking, I was so nervous in that round and stuff, but he still pulls off amazing things. So I think he's just maybe getting a little bit used to it, and obviously it's pretty new for us. Like one thing is it's a pretty big LAN event, but it's also, we're going now to Rio and it's a long travel and it's very different here. Like you cannot really play Face It with your friends back home that you used to play maybe when you have time for it, and you cannot really play on the same deathmatch servers, and there's like you have to adjust to some things, and I think that has maybe played a little bit part of it, because usually I think me and Nico especially, we like to play a lot of CS outside of practice and outside of like tournament games, and I think we haven't really been able to do it as much when we're here. So I think that's
the
one of the
Danish
things.
death stacks on faces.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that's it for the champions table, or champions round table with you guys. Good luck in your quarterfinal match. Going to be fun to watch. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We're hanging out here at the Champions Round Table, and we've got Furia and NaVi. We got SDY and Simple on my left. Of course, Maui hanging out with me. We're going to try and pick their brains about what's going to be a very interesting quarterfinal. Of course, Art and Safe from Furia. So, gentlemen, I mean, we were talking about this before, Maui. How do you start this conversation? Both teams, very exciting. Obviously, very exciting for you, qualifying for that main stage with the home team hero kind of vibe. We've described it as a passing of the torch. We described it as, you know, the old guard and the new, you boys being the new. Can we just get a little taste of what this quarterfinal means to you before we go further?
It's on our home, so it means everything for us. That's what we fight for. That's what we are preparing for the whole year. So that's the biggest moment for us.
Yeah. And on the other side of things, I saw your tweet last night. You know, it's like, look, we're here to win. You know, I'm going to prepare and do my hard work. Does it linger on your mind, the fact that the crowd's going to be against you?
I mean, we played already against BIG in finals when it was 15,000 in Cologne. And it was great when nobody screamed.
Yeah, like a librarian.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting how they're going to cheer, like overall. They're going to sing songs, you know.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to...
The drums.
Just gonna be dancing and happy, you know. That's what I'm excited the most.
I feel like you guys are really used though to being the crowd favorites. So
Yeah.
when even is the last time people were rooting against you?
I think it was Cologne 50 on 50.
Right.
So 7
When
years
we
ago?
lost. No. The last one.
Oh, the
we
last
lost.
one, the most recent one. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
against
okay.
FaZe, yeah.
Okay.
But it was 50 on 50. But the last time when we lost, it was, Cologne 2018. Oh, the one that we won and we had crowd against us.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you're a bit of a showman, Simple. I know you like it when, you know, the whole crowd erupts when you do something no one's seen before. So that part of it's going to be interesting. I'm interested. And for you, Safe, I mean, this is going to be one of the biggest stages you've ever played on.
Yeah, definitely the biggest. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. And I think the difference between like normal stage and for us Brazilians is that we have the drums, so it's like a football match. So it's completely crazy. So that's pretty nice.
I've never heard anything.
Yeah, it's
never heard anything like we've had, and for the group stage as well. Did you like the group stage atmosphere?
Yeah, I love it. We had a lot of chances to play in front of this crowd, even in this arena, and I'm looking forward to a bigger one because it's insane. Like you feel in every scene, the drums, the vibe, like it's going on your
goosebumps.
Yeah, like a goosebumps.
And especially on new arena, there's gonna be 10 or 15,000 outside of arena
as well.
Like in football,
In the arena gonna be 360 as well. So it's
360. Oh. So I know it's like 16 plus 15. We're talking like the most human beings watching.
Wait, arena you said with 360?
Oh, the Jonas, it's gonna be 360. I think we're gonna be in the middle, so it's gonna be a lot of.
Now you definitely feel surrounded.
It's like on TI?
Yeah, like international.
Wow.
We tried it once in CS, like that Vegas event. Do you remember?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
The Luxor,
2017.
yeah.
It didn't quite work out, but this could be sick. We should probably talk about this quarterfinal a bit, Maui.
Yeah, let's do it. I think the first thing we wanted to know from you guys is obviously you're facing off against NaVi, but not the best track record. You have beaten them this year. I think at the EPL groups, last several group stages ago, you beat them. But for the most part, NaVi's been beating you guys pretty consistently. So I guess what are you going to change up?
I guess different times, like the momentum we have right now and the way we're playing, it's way different. We started the year a little rougher, and after that we just get the pace up and we just work hard to make it to this major the best we could, and we are feeling way readier than we ever have been before.
And Furia's style, from your guys' perspective, you're obviously watching the demos now. No one quite plays Counter-Strike
Yes, I like to rush.
Like these guys, yeah.
I like when they rush.
Yeah. Oh,
But if crowd gonna be loud and I don't hear when they rush, it's gonna be bad.
that could be the strat. Art's just
Yeah.
going to get them all hyped, and then he's just going to bomb it through a smoke. I've ruined it.
Yeah, my freeze time is gonna be like this.
Yeah. That used to be Carrigan's strategy. He'd get the
Yeah.
crowd going, and then he'd call a fast smoke. He actually used to try that. Okay, interesting. And what about the same question for you guys? SDY, what's your opinion when you watch Furia play? You know, like it is a different approach.
Yeah,
These boys don't even smoke yard on T-side nuke. You know, like they're doing it their own way.
yeah, it reminds me the old times of CS region because we used to rush a lot in CS region as well, like do some executes and set strats. So I feel like they play in this way that you need to stop them in the early game.
Right.
Like
So start strong.
I like how Furia create new smokes with rushes, you know? Like outside smoke, the first one to main, that was your first smoke. And the next thing you did the smoke between city red and this small box on nuke, you know? You do it на квадрат, как это?
Blue, mini blue box.
Yeah,
On
you-
nuke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On nuke.
No,
Yeah.
like when you go out a city on the left side, you have small box.
small box on
yeah,
the-
and there is
yeah.
smoke, and
shots.
you can do different rushes. So yeah, I mean,
Like
I
innovation.
I like when they do a lot of fast rounds in some crucial moments, you know, especially when enemy has no economy. That's interesting, and we took a lot from like these nades and some fast rounds as well.
There you go. You guys are inspiring NaVi. Did NaVi inspire you? I'm sure you've been looking at those demos. I mean, these boys play a very, when it's on, it's a very sexy Counter-Strike as well to watch. What's your opinion on NaVi CS?
Yeah, I think when I started playing CS, Simple was already playing like majors and stuff. So I have been watching NaVi play from the beginning, and I guess Safe as well because he's been playing CS way before than I
for me
was.
as well. But when I joined Furia, I had to stop watching those guys because it's a completely different style. But I can say for Simple, I used to watch him a lot as well. And he's an inspiration, of course, for many people. And for me, it's no different. So yeah, it's going to be nice to play against him.
Have you guys noticed any change in NaVi since they switched in-game leaders to Electronic?
Interesting question.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, I think that's a tough question for me because mainly I watch games just for fun of it. So when I'm watching people play, just because the game style is so different, and sometimes I get some like new plays, new stuff. But overall, I don't really watch like the entire match technically way, like technical wise. I just watch for fun.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
Is it the same for you boys? I'm always interested. Like when you're watching the games, you know, there's probably a difference between watching the game to watch the game and watching the game to develop or learn. Like, is there two different brains you're using when you're looking at a team?
Yeah, but from my perspective, I'm looking more on some individual setups, you know.
Right.
But like from perspective, learning the whole game, it's the job of our coach and our captain.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's different. It's very different. Our game very different with new IGL, but the structure is still the same.
So basically, Electronic is just kind of taking the Blade system though, and he's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
moving
he
it
always
forward, right?
had good mid calls, Electronic, and the beginning of round is easy because we have our textbook, we have our strategies, and we just need to follow and don't forget what we need to do in round. And after, it's his individual IGL skill when
So-
he need to move our team.
So Electronics mid-rounding is going to be tested against Furia's mid-rounding, which always is very... I mean, I'd love to know how it works in your team. I mean, because when I'm casting you sometimes, it's so clear that you come up with an idea of like, 60 seconds. You get the space, you work out what control you have, and then you've got like 3 options you can choose from, and you make that call. Is that something that's coming straight out of your mouth, or is it usually the call from the start is the call at the finish?
Yeah, that's like a fun question. Like when Simple said about that, they have like textbooks for the start of the round. We have some like set plays that we do from the start of the round, but at the same time, we just some rounds you just like take space fast, and when we do that, it creates a lot of opportunities that most teams don't have. So the mid round calling gets very chaotic in a good way for me because we have so much space and so much messing around with the players' positionings that I can call a lot of different rounds. So that's like the fun part of it.
Me and Chad, when we're casting you, we always kind of say like, Furia are creating the chaos, and it's like the chaos you want. You want the team you're playing against to kind of lose you, get confused, but also I think you might be one of the best teams at having a very good idea as to what your enemy's intentions are. You know, like it's one of the things you guys keep track of very well.
Yeah, the most important thing for us is to control micromanagement over map for the whole time, and we're trying to focus on that pretty much every second of the round that we play in.
Yeah, and
So
you just
that's
keep,
why.
and that's a team effort. Everyone's just relaying the information.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
need information.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we don't have information, the game changes, you know. You need to find some space, new space. You need to be more aggressive to get this information.
Right. Yeah, and that's why we love watching CS, is because it's always that like how quickly you can remove information, how quickly you can change it, and it's all chess.
Speaking of that, so for you guys, obviously, Art, you're the one getting the most information at the beginning of every round, but I think Yuri's probably like the second guy. Who's the third? Who's the third guy that's going to get information for the team?
It's hard to say. Depends on the map. I usually put myself in that situation because it opens more space and gives more freedom to the players to focus on their game and not on getting space or information or just communicating. So I put myself in set rounds. We have a play. I usually put myself in front so I can do my own stuff and help them to play afterwards. So usually doing that for. I think Drop does more than Yuri, to be honest. So
Yeah,
it's
I
would
think
be
Drop
Art,
communicates a
Drop,
lot
and Yuri.
inside the team.
Yeah, I think Drop would be the guy who are like seeking for, like looking for information, trying to help the team. I would say that's Drop now.
I have a question. For example, you go in first, you kill him, they're trading you. For example, you're 4-on-4. You always agile the team?
Yeah.
All the time,
I talk
yeah?
more
you
when,
tell,
when
you
I
go
dead.
there, you go there.
Yeah, no,
Not that much now.
Yeah,
I think,
depends on the map.
Yeah, not that much now because I think Drop step up a lot lately, and been trying to communicate more, and Yuri as well. I mean, everybody's trying to communicate more, but I feel like before when I joined the team, Art was doing that more, and now we're trying to help him. You know, we cannot just leave to him to
Yeah,
I think
I'm interested. Does it work the same way here? Is it kind of more of a team effort?
Yes, more team effort, yeah.
Interesting. I wanted to maybe go a bit more meta as well. Like I wanted to talk about the game we're all playing. Because in Rio, not only has there been crazy upsets, you know, no Vitality, no FaZe. Do you think that the competitive level of Counter-Strike has just got higher? You know, I'm trying to make sense of everything that's going on here. Is it to do with, you know, the 2 years of online play, catching everyone up?
I would want to know actually with the Legend. One narrative we were pushing was that the teams coming from the Challenger stage had already warmed up here, and then the Legend stage team, some of them a little cold. Like even you guys had a bit of a slow start. I'd say. Do you think now that's an even playing field, or is everybody warmed up now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when it's Legend stage and teams who is from Legend stage came in Brazil, like you have plus that you already saw the game of other opponents, and you have the minus that you don't know how you're gonna feel when you're gonna play on stage because other teams played. So it's always like different sides. Yes.
So do you think that's what happened to FaZe?
No, not really. I think even after player break, it felt like they're exhausted. I don't know, I don't know why they're exhausted because they had player break, but they start to play better, and I saw that they will have good boot camp. They will come and show better game, but just I don't know what happened.
And a lot of CT sides. Like it seems like anyone can get like 6 or 7, 8 on T side. You're in a very good place.
Yeah.
Do you like the way the game's currently playing?
I think they should change the A1S.
Yeah,
and remove Ancient.
No. The Panther likes the jungle. Yeah.
You pick Ancient?
The mind games are starting already.
It's hard on T side to plant the bomb even, you know.
But at the same time, that I don't like the T side, I don't like Ancient. I don't like the way that we're just playing the same maps over and over again.
Yeah.
I like Dust 2, for example, we don't play it, you guys play it, it's the same thing over and over again. You guys do the same thing, you take long control fast and slow the pace down, or just going back to B, or just finishing A, or taking very slow control of the map and just doing like fakes. It's just the same, like nothing new. So I like Dust 2, like that. Mirage is like that as well. Vertigo is kind of okay because it's kind of new, but for me, I just would like to join new maps.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Do you think this? I think some of these maps then have been solved. Like, not all of them. like we see innovation on some of the newer maps, like, but do you think that, you know, the Dust 2's Mirage, there is a de facto best way to play? Like, you know, there's not like a team can approach it differently and catch you off guard. There is kind of, in a pro player's mind, there is an obvious answer and approach that you have to do. Is that what you're saying?
So. I
No?
don't think so.
You,
No,
so
like,
you could mix it up. You could start picking Dust 2 and blow our brains with an incredible, you know.
Yeah, I
approach.
just think that there is metas for the map, and some teams can master them. Like I remember Inferno, where the meta was playing like safe city side and just giving banana control every round, and then the meta changed for taking banana every round the city, and then it kind of was like how NaVi even played before, that they just like try to hold half wall control for a little bit more. So this kind of metas is all you can do because the map is the same for so many years. Like that's true. I think that I don't play the map, but after they changed the thing from mid, gave more city space to play, and that's nice. But the map, the city meta is already too strong, so I don't think that's a good thing.
Why does it seem like, in your guys' perspective, that so many players that are coming up that maybe are less experienced, like you kind of look at a team like Spirit and they have 3 guys that all started playing Tier 1 this year. How come they caught up to speed so quickly despite it being such a deep game?
I think they're just like, they're good, you know. I think they have playing CS for many years and grinding, but they were just not Tier 1 and not showing off, you know.
I think before the Tier 1, they've been playing for a long time as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
now
think-
that they're in Tier 1, people see it, but before it, there's a long road to get to.
Monez has many more hours than I do. Right. And then almost double his age.
I'm sure you've got a good perspective.
Yeah, I can talk about my perspective from Spirit because they have really good structures that they believed in. Like every player in the team know what they're working for and why it's working, even if it's bad maybe in some way.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And you played under Chopper, right?
Yeah, we played with Chopper.
So
Like
you
he's
know, like
great AGL.
he's a good age at IGL.
Yeah.
It's always interesting because they were getting like 8 T rounds on Ancient. I was watching it.
Yep.
It just
Yeah, they're really good at some of the T sides now.
Yes, the coach Hali actually have a pretty good set strats from the beginning of the round. He understand how the nades working properly and the timings, everything like that. So if Spirit doing set strat, it's pretty dangerous.
Could you compare what it's like to play under NaVi versus playing under Spirit? Because, I mean, both teams are in playoffs.
Yeah, the difference is, as I said before, it's a macro game, like overall on the map. Like we didn't focus when I was in Spirit on the things that much. We was more focusing on the set strats, rounds, and things like that. Micro.
interesting, super interesting.
You guys played Spirit actually too. So
Yeah.
I mean, how does it feel in the server against them? What is it? Yeah.
They're good, like individually wise. Their aim is nice. Like they're aware of everything, and I didn't felt that they choke. So they're like very young, and I did not felt that. So that's a good thing. So it's always a tough match against them. We lost for them in the last major, and we almost did this major. So they're very strong.
They have good individual players as well. They can step up.
How about zooming out on the rest of the playoff picture? I mean, we got Cloud9, Mouse, Fnatic.
Outsiders.
Outsiders, yeah. Does any of those teams? I mean, you guys obviously have your individual matchup ahead of you guys, but if you made it to the if either of you guys made it to the grand finals, do you have one team on the other side of the bracket you think is probably going to be that other team that meets you?
Probably Cloud9, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say Cloud9 as well.
They look good. They look really good.
I mean, if outsiders go in semis, they can surprise Cloud9 because it's CIS against CIS. They know how to play.
Crazy.
But I mean, Cloud9 just need to not lose on stage because last major and major before they lost on stage.
It's so perfect. Which leads me into something I wanted to ask. I didn't know if it was appropriate, but I'm just super interested to hear your opinions about the mental game. You know, it's so hard to put words to it, but we know your mental state has an effect on how you play. You know, like if you're tilted, you know, we've seen Liquid like a couple of stack nades on a Liege and he just tilts and disappears for a whole map. You know, like controlling your mental is a part of being a professional player. So my question, I guess, I'll keep it open-ended, is just, you know, what has been your experiences with the power or the effect that your mentality has on your gameplay? Have you found answers? Have you analyzed it? Have you looked at it? You know, it's such an interesting part of the game in terms of having a strong mind when things aren't going your way. Start with you, Simple. Do you have anything for us? Are you just a robot? You don't feel anything during the games? Or?
No, of course I feel something, but I'm just always telling myself that we are ready because we had a good game plan. We were practicing, preparing for this game, and at the end, you just need to do what you practice for. And like all people screaming and a lot of fans, you just think only about your game.
Do you doubt your ability ever?
That's
a hard question, I realize, but
no, usually it was after break, for example, when I didn't play with NaVi, when Hat-Trick played. When you come back and all other teams already played a lot of hours, they played scrims, and you just come in to play against them, and they destroy you. You understand you need time.
Yeah.
And you start to do, maybe I start to play wars or something like this, but.
And like the mid-game ones, you know, like because I mean, obviously we might be getting a bit dramatic in the commentary booth, but you know, when we take a timeout, sometimes we think they're taking a timeout just to fix it up, you know, like just reset, shake it off. You know, every round is a new round. How does it feel on your side, Art? Do you ever kind of get in your own head? Especially as a leader, you know, sometimes the call's not working and you're like, is it me?
Yeah, I think the toughest part for me, it's understanding that I need to get the hype up and make my teammates comfortable and not show any bad emotions.
Right.
So that's the hardest part for me because I get very angry during the game, like kind of tilted with like when I do like a bad call or the bad play. I need to get my head cooled off so I cannot that leak for my teammates and just let them be like motivated and make them believe that we can win. So that's the toughest part for me because I also think about the game and think about myself and the threats and also think about my teammates. So it's a very hard game, a very hard thing to do, but it's very important as well to make my teammates, everybody feel comfortable and hype them up and give them courage. So I think that's also a very big part of the game.
Yeah, like the power of belief.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone believes that you can come back. It's like you know, it's how you say something, not what you said, it's how you said it. You know, like it sounds like an angry girlfriend, but it's like actually part of Counter-Strike.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
It's like you have to, you know, even we were saying in the car, like the way in which you make the call, or if you sigh before you say it, like, to be, you know, you're going to get under someone's skin. It's like
confidence is very important, yes. I think
it's
everybody can
crazy.
agree with that.
Yeah. How about you, SDY? I mean,
yeah, for me, the most important thing probably through the game is to stay calm no matter what. Even if I lose some crazy shit or if I win something insanely good, I will still stay calm and
just stone face.
Yeah, like don't feel anything. Like it's the best thing for me for sure.
Yeah.
I guess one more thing that I would have to add is like, okay, what do you see then when you see these in-game leaders like Cadian that are just the most emotional possible?
Yeah.
Like,
or Apex. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes
Apex.
I get pissed off watching it. I'm like, I couldn't be your teammate. He's going like, wow, it's like 3 rounds into the game.
Yeah, for me, it feels like it's super exhausting. Like I cannot do it for sure because on the second map I will be dead already. Like I don't have anything to do.
Amazing, amazing. I was checking the time. We've got maybe time for one more question, Mal. Have you got anything left in the chamber?
I guess if you guys, I think if you guys beat NaVi, who would they have next actually?
Heroic
or Spirit.
Or Spirit.
Okay. I mean, how do you think the crowd's gonna like? Actually, I just want to know in general. How do you think the crowd's gonna help you guys at this whole thing?
It's actually crazy because they check that. But it's also very crazy that when we played the first match, it was kind of the pressure was bad for us because it was too many pressure like on our
we
side.
weren't used to it.
Yeah,
like the first match.
It was weird.
We were trying to adapt, you know.
And if you mess up, you feel like you're letting them down.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you have to get out of that mind space.
But after that, like after the first match against Big, that was the opposite. We kind of embraced that, and it was very nice to have that feeling when we are down like 10-1 against Spirit, and we made one round. They are screaming like we won the major, and that gave us confidence.
Yeah,
That's
I think
crazy.
trying to translate that energy that they bring to us into something positive to us inside the server is something that we always try to do. I think after the first match against Big, we have a lot of discussions about it as well with our staffs and things like this, and trying to translate that energy into something positive that you can like do a comeback or something like that when things are doing so well. And I think we did it against Spirit. So I think it's going to be something positive for us.
And I think this match is going to be something positive. I'm very excited to see how this Counter-Strike interacts with that Counter-Strike in front of 16,000 people in an arena. Yes, please. Yes,
Yes.
please. I think we should wrap it up. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers, boys. And that's Furia and NaVi, one of our quarterfinals.